Well, hello, everybody. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for coming. What an absolute joy this has been, this experience the last few days. I've been to a lot of bowl games as a college football coach, and I have not been to one as well organized, as well run, and definitely not as much fun. This has been an absolute blast, a great experience for our players, and this is something we hope to have year in, year in, year in, year in, year out, every single year to be able to come back to Boise. The city of Boise has been absolutely hospitable. People are so friendly here, and I've never been to Boise before, and I'd love to come back. I know that. So we're very honored to be here, very humbled to be here. I want to thank Kevin McDonald, Danielle, all your entire staff of the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. Absolute pleasure to get to know all of you. First class in everything we've done since we've been here, and all I keep hearing from our players is how much fun they're having. And we truly appreciate that. Rarely any downtime. We're moving, but we're doing a lot of things based on the players, what they would like to do, and we appreciate that for sure. I'd like to thank the Bowl Committee for selecting us. Again, we're very honored, very humbled to be here. We've got a terrific opponent in Air Force, a team that went from 2-10 to 9-3. Coach Calhoun and I actually got a chance to spend some time together for 5 minutes right before this. We've never really talked to each other much. And it's funny because he was at Wake Forest when I was a player at Northern Illinois. We ended up beating Wake Forest 42-41. And we talked a little bit about that. So it's a lot of fun to be able to get around coaches that you don't know and share a little information. But 2-10 to 9-3, and if there's some people that you want representing your country and fighting for your country and fighting for our freedoms on a daily basis, it's people that go from 2-10 to 9-3. The resolve that they have, and they showed they're a tough-minded group, and they show it on film. They're very, very good. We have our work cut out for us, but we're ready for the challenge. We have a great week of preparation. Our kids have had a lot of fun. I want to thank Coach Harsin and the Boise State staff and all of Boise State for letting us use their facilities. Really had a lot of fun. Got a chance to watch Boise State practice as well, which is a lot of fun for me. You always learn something as a football coach. You continue to grow. So we're happy to be here. I've got three incredible young men sitting before you that I know that you're very eager to ask some questions to because they are the best that we have to offer at Western Michigan as student athletes. I'm proud to say I coach them, proud to say I'm a Bronco, and with that, I guess we'll open up for some questions. I think the biggest thing is these three and our entire football team decided to become a team. We have a saying in our program called family, and everybody uses it. You use it in your own family. But for us, it stands for forget about me, I love you. And the love equals sacrifice. So you talk about love as a football coach. You don't want to get all squishy and soft, right? But love is sacrifice. That's how we define it in our program. And we knew if we wanted to go from worst to first, we were going to have to do a lot of things. Now, we didn't get to the first part, but we were pretty darn close. We were 11 minutes and 37 seconds away from that. But the team really decided to become a team. Everything we did in the offseason was really dedicated to bringing these players closer together, not only on the field, but in their personal lives. And definitely it's paid off. They're one of the best teams I've ever been around, one of the youngest teams I've ever been around. 85% of our team are sophomores or below, including these guys up here, except for Donald, who's a senior. But they really came together. They did it. We gave them the blueprint. They did it. So that's what happens when you turn it around. The players get it done. Gosh, they're tough. I mean, they play so darn hard. And this is going to be fun because we call the way you play the football game, we call that the how. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. And it's not where you got to, it's how you got there. And both teams have the how. They have the spirit, they have the heart, they have the drive, they have the energy, they have the passion. And that's what's really cool about what's going into this game on Saturday because it's two teams that have that. And just as much as they know they have it, we feel we have that as well. But when you watch them, they're juniors and seniors. They've played a ton of football together. Very different than our football team. We haven't played a lot together, but they are extremely tough, and they're aggressive, and they play with the how. They play the game the right way. And like I said before, I mean, you can tell that they're in the Air Force Academy, and they're trained to be disciplined every single day and do things the right way and defend our country when they're obviously done going to school.
Coach mentioned kind of the family mantra. What would you see maybe from the differences go from where you were last year to where you are this year?
First of all, I'd like to say it's a pleasure to be here. I truly appreciate it. It's been a fun week, and we all have enjoyed it. But the biggest difference I see from this year is definitely, like you said, family. Forget about me, I love you. We had to really get together and trust one another and love and respect one another and care for one another. And that's why we changed our best, and that's why where we at today.
So was that like an issue last year? Were there different groups or guys that didn't like each other? Or was kind of
Last year it was completely different. It was different clique. It was people. It wasn't family. It wasn't together. The guy was worrying about the wrong thing. But this year we are completely family and we care about one another. Last year we didn't care about each other. We were just playing. That's the biggest difference.
Donnie, you mentioned you said 1-11 last year. What was the mindset for you guys going into the offseason, going into camp, going to start a season that allowed you guys to kind of get to this point?
Well, what allowed us to get to this point is everything that Coach did around the stadium, Coach and his staff, like building a new locker room, a family environment, making us want to be around the stadium more and want to be around each other more and hanging out and getting together. I think that's one of the biggest difference.
Did you ever think this big of a turnaround was something that you appreciated?
Definitely seeing it coming. Definitely seeing it coming. Coach Fleck and his staff. Coach Fleck is one of the best coaches in the country, and his staff is the best staff I've ever been around. And it's great working with those guys. And I expected, especially from these guys, just how the bond we had in the locker room.
Zach, obviously a breakout season for you throwing the ball. What's been the key for you to have as big a year as you've had throwing the ball?
Well, I mean, obviously being the quarterback and throwing the ball around, there's a lot that goes into that. I think, first of all, the offensive line, the improvements that they made, it all starts with them. And they did a great job from last season really turning it around. And they've been tough to get through, and they've really kept me upright and given me a clear line of sight. Also, the wide receivers, the work that we put in the off season, we put in a lot of time every week, throwing extra routes, doing extra stuff, and I think that contributes to our success this season so far.
Looks like you got a couple guys with big yards per catch averages. Where the big plays coming from?
It's a contribute to them, really. They do it all, and I got some really powerful weapons with Corey Davis outside, Daniel Braverman, Darius Phillips. I could go on and on. We just got a lot of weapons, and really it's just my job to get them the ball and to let them work because they really are big plays in the making. And I think also the balance that we've added to this game. Jarvion's been a huge part of that, and the balance has really opened up the passing game for us this season.
Coach, you look at your losses, and even your losses were very competitive, close games. I mean, you mentioned this family mantra and stuff. How do you, on the field, go from where you were last year to be able to put up the results you were this year?
Well, you need to learn how to win. I think that's the biggest thing. Winning's a process. Winning just doesn't happen overnight. Everybody wants the result of winning, but it's the process that you have to pay the price, and that's the hard part that people really don't want to do. And our kids really believed in a saying we have in our program, never let the circumstance dictate your behavior. And no matter what obstacles thrown our way, they wouldn't let it dictate what they were doing or how they were doing it. And I think that's a compliment to them because there was a lot of games, even including Ball State. We're down 28 at halftime, and we find a way to come back and win. And after that, win 6 straight. That's the turning point of our season. And everybody talks about the Toledo game where we hit the upright in overtime with the extra point. I still firmly believe if we don't hit that upright, I don't think we win the Ball State game anyway. It's the drive and the passion and the never give up mantra and the rowing the boat that these kids were able to do to overcome all the adversity they faced throughout the entire year. And we lost 3 of our starting linebackers before the season even started. So not only are we young, we don't have any depth. We have 70 scholarship players. Because of last year, we lost 25 seniors. The attrition from 14, 15 guys not fitting into the new culture, new program. And now all of a sudden you can only bring in 25 per year, but you're 15 scholarships less. So not do you only have depth issues, you have youth issues. And going into the season, people always ask me, well, how good you can think you're going to be? I said, I'll be honest with you, I have no idea. I have not watched Jarvion Franklin run the football before. I haven't watched Darius Phillips play. I haven't seen Daniel Braverman do anything yet. I haven't seen our tight end that moved to right guard play right guard yet in the game. There was a lot of unanswered questions, but these guys handled all that adversity, all those circumstances that were thrown their way, and just kept rowing the boat in the right direction. And really, really proud of them.
Coach, speaking of Jarvion, have you ever find yourself surprised at what he's been able to do in this freshman season?
You know what? No, to be honest with you, I've really that's why we recruited him, to be honest with you. We took 3 true freshmen knowing that one of them was going to have to step up and play. And Jarvion will probably tell you after the first practice, it was really after like the 3rd run, I literally pulled him over to me and said, hey, look, I'm just going to be very honest with you. You're going to be the guy. Okay, now, forget the maturity part of me trying to be all tough on you and hard on you. You're going to have to be our guy. So you just saw that, and I saw that. So did Coach Shirok. Everybody just saw your vision there. What we have to do is now we've got to get you to a race to maturity. We have to get you to be mature fast. So however we coach you, whatever we tell you, just trust us that we're going to get you there. You got to put the work in, but I'm just telling you, you're the guy. So congratulations, you won the job. Now let's just move on and go win some football games. But you could easily see that because of his vision. But I think who deserves a lot of credit on his behalf is his grandmother and his mother, his upbringing. He truly is a very humble person, and I've told this story before about Jarvion. We just beat Ball State, came back from 28 down. We're running off the field. He grabs Kathy Beauregard, our athletic director, and tells her, Kathy, I just want to thank you so much for coming to our football game. It means so much to us that you actually showed up. And I'm looking at him like, you know what, that's her job to be at this game. You know, she's the athletic director, you know. But he's so humble, and he's got a huge heart. He's very giving, very spiritual young man, and he's got a great head on his shoulders. And it's fun to be able to watch somebody have success but be able to keep such a level head, because sometimes it's an act. It's not an act with Jarvion Franklin. And every time he wins an award, which is numerous throughout the entire year, he's always giving credit to someone else. And that's hard sometimes because you're rarely getting it yourself from everyone. Right, you're getting it from everybody else, but you're not getting it from your own teammates because you keep passing the buck. And but that takes a lot of maturity, and he's obviously had that mantra of race to maturity the entire year, and really proud of him. Last thing, I don't want to embarrass him, I'll say this about him too, is he got hurt in that Eastern Michigan game, and he had a bad high ankle sprain, and he played the last 2 games about 50%. And it wasn't even 80 or 85. I mean, we're talking 50%. For him to actually play says a lot about him. He could have easily sat out and said, I'm not feeling that good. We knew he was hurt. We knew he was banged up, but he wanted to be out there with his teammates. And he just absolutely destroyed the rehab every single week, just getting after it to be out there, which says a lot about him. It says a lot about his commitment to his teammates. So that's what our team's about, rowing the boat for each other and keeping that oar in the water no matter what happens to you. It's about the team, and it's about our boat going in the right direction.
How big a motivating factor for this bowl game has been the end of the Northern Little League?
It's huge, man. It's huge because we've been in championship games before. We play Eastern for a championship game. We also play Central Michigan for a championship game. So this is really huge for us, and we got to get it done this time. We learned our lesson from the first time.
Jarvion, what was that day like for you, the first day of practice? To be told you're the guy.
To be told I was the guy, it was. It kind of was a relief, but at the same time, it just made me want to work even harder because I knew that I could have, that my ceiling, like I just wanted to get better every single day. Like I never go to practice and just be like, okay, I know I'm the guy today, so I'm just gonna go here and just take it easy. Like I just want to get better every single snap and like try to learn something every single play. So it just made me want to work even harder.
It looks like both of your guys' corners have 4 interceptions and 17 pass breakups this year, which are pretty crazy numbers. Why have you guys got your hands on the ball so much?
All the credit go to Coach Pinkham. His technique is incredible. Our technique before wasn't all that. But since he came in and we just listened to him, and he's a genius of what he do, and it's just we give you all the credit to Coach Pinkham because without him we wouldn't be in this position.
How's the ankle feeling now? About 3 weeks off? And what percentage are you at for tomorrow?
And I just can't wait to get out there and play again at full speed and just with full confidence and not have to think about it. I just can't wait for tomorrow.
P.J., when you look at as a coach, you've been around the programs, when you look at the triple option, what makes it so difficult to defend against?
If you make one mistake, you're dead. That's what makes it tough because everybody's assigned to something. And if you take your eyes off the dive and you're the dive guy, well, that dive just went for 80 yards because there's nobody else to tackle it. That's what makes it very difficult. And there's a lot more deception these days in the triple option. It's evolved. And when you've been around a program as long as Coach Calhoun has, you can really stem from it. 45% is what we had in our breakdowns in terms of what they actually do in the triple option. Everything else is really a spread offense. So you have to have 2 defenses ready for one opponent. And it's not just an adjustment. It's 2 completely different defenses. So everything our players have learned in the last 11 months and 2 weeks is thrown out the window when they go into their triple option. They also make it difficult because they'll run the triple option and the spread based on their personnel groupings. So we call defenses based on personnel groupings. Well, if they bring 21 personnel out there, they can also run a spread offense plus a triple option offense, which makes it very difficult. So we're making checks not to a call within a defense, but a defense to a defense, and then calls within inside that defense. Extremely difficult to do, but when you've been there that long, you can, and they're extremely smart. They've got great players that are extremely smart. You can expand on that and make it very difficult. You can tell they spend a lot of time self-scouting themselves, how our team's going to be able to stop us. And I know in the beginning quarter or 2 quarters what they're going to do is, are you guys smart enough to stop us? And if they're going to say, okay, if we do this, do you do this? And if we do that, we counter it. Okay, are you smart enough to do this? They have a plethora of things we have that they can do. We just got to be able to play as hard as we possibly can and hopefully get them to do something they really don't do a lot of, and that's make mistakes.
As a young head coach going up against Coach Conley, who's been around for a little bit longer, do you enjoy this cat and mouse kind of chess match that you'll be having with him out there?
Absolutely. That's why you coach. We're both competitors. One thing about me is I love to compete. These guys love to compete. I love to compete. Even in go-karts the other day, I was absolutely ticked off. I got third. That's still under review right now. But I love to compete. And Coach Calhoun will tell you the same thing. And it doesn't necessarily matter that I'm 34 and he's older than me, or he's been around a lot longer than I have. It's just the competitor inside of all of us, and that carries down into our players as well. I think they're a competitive group in Air Force. That's why they are where they are, and defeated Boise State and Colorado State, 2 top 20 teams, 2 10-win teams. And I know where we're at because of these competitors, and they refuse to lose. They have that type of mentality. So as a coach, you feel like you have that same mentality as well.
Obviously, it would mean a lot. I mean, the fact that we've been a program for as long as we have and never won one, just to bring one home back to Kalamazoo would be huge. And obviously, Coach Fleck has set a program for us, and that program is to win championships. And it starts tomorrow. And looking forward, we're going to do whatever it takes. We've been preparing really hard this week. I'm really looking forward to the opportunity to play Air Force. They're a really good opponent. But if we have our goals set on a championship, and to do that, it starts tomorrow, and we're going to do our best. And that's all we can do.
Coach, I saw you practice yesterday. Coach Harsin was saying he met you down in Arizona somewhere to function, and then he DM'd you, I guess, and you guys got in touch. What is your relationship like with him?
We've actually grown into pretty good friends. As friends as coaches, you really kind of talk football and kind of get to know each other, see each other probably 3-4 times a year. That's pretty much the extent of your friendship when you live halfway across the country from each other. But one thing I'll say about Coach Harsin, and I respect him dearly, I knew him as he was an offensive coordinator, watched him continue to do elite things here at Boise State, then watch him leave to go to Texas, and then be able to have an opportunity to come back home. He's an extremely bright football coach, and when you watch him, his players love him. He's a player's coach, but I think the player's coach mentality's changed over the years. I don't think it's, hey, I want to play for him because he's easy on us. I think players' coaches really go to the next level. We know as players he's going to develop us the right way in every aspect of life, academically, professionally, athletically, academically. He's going to do that. And Coach Harsin's a perfect first-class example of that. He's a first-class man, high-character man. And I knew that immediately when I got a chance to meet him, and that's who I wanted to attach myself to in terms of when you talk about your friendships. And I got a lot of respect for what he's done here as a coordinator and now as a head football coach, because it's even harder, I think, who takes the job next after Chris Peterson. That's the hard part because the expectations are so high. And he ends up 11-2, and I'm sure that he probably wanted a few more people in the stands when he played Fresno State. Everybody already expected the championship was won. Those are where the expectations that I want for our program to be set one day. But he's a class act, a high character man, and I'm proud to call him a friend.
So if you're playing a Mountain West team, though, you probably couldn't ask him for any tips, could you?
Well, not to say I couldn't ask. Of course I asked. It was whether he wanted to give those answers to me or not was the question. And I will say this, he was pretty tight-lipped. But I had him, all right, just nod your head a little bit this way if you do this. And he was really good. But, he's got a lot of respect for the conference, and so do I. I would never ask him anything to be able to pull information like that. But, I got a lot of respect for him.
Is that because you were playing against the team that beat them? You didn't want to share secrets about them? I figured he'd tell you all that.
Yeah, well, I think it has to do with a little bit of the conference deal, and I didn't ask him too difficult of questions, but I think just in normal conversation, you just talk football in general, and you talk about how they beat you, and it's very simple, 7 turnovers. That was a very simple answer. And people ask how Northern Illinois beat us. You're up 21-10. Well, 6 turnovers. It happens very easily, so it's a pretty quick answer. Well, you'd hope Broncos, they don't have to do anything else. The problem is they might get confused because Air Force is wearing all blue, but they're going to be chanting Broncos, so hopefully they're doing it at the right time.
Zach, coach just mentioned their defense. They had seven interceptions, 7 turnovers against Boise State. What have you seen? What jumps out to you on tape about their defense?
Well, they're really disciplined is what I noticed, and Coach just talked about it. They play with what we call the how. They're a tough team. They play with a lot of heart. And something we've always preached is the ball. The ball is the program. And for us to be successful against them, we're going to have to control the ball. We can't turn it over because, as they've shown, they can really force teams into bad situations. And if they do that, they'll capitalize and they'll beat us.
Coach, you signed your contract extension the other day. It sounded like you sat on it for a little while. Is that true?
Well, I don't know if I sat on it. I had my pen ready to go. I think negotiations always take a little while, especially when you're in Mid-American Conference school, to be honest with you. It's not like you're in the SEC and the money just comes pouring into, hey, here's $5 million a year. It's got to be very creative in how you do it. And I respect a lot of people and very, very grateful and humbled for a lot of people who made that happen. Because if you look at the salary from the university, it was a $15,000 raise. When you look at it from the other parts, that came from a lot of other people who are truly dedicated Broncos that want to continue to see consistency in their program. And I think when you look back at all the teams that have a lot of success, I think for the most part, the number one thing they have in common is consistency. You look at Boise State, Chris Peterson, Dan Hawkins, you have some consistency there over the course of 10, 12 years. That helps. Same message, same values, same characteristics, same systems. We definitely wanted to take care of our coordinators to make sure they stayed with us to keep the systems same for the kids. But the kids got that done. And I told them last night, I thank them tremendously for it because they're the ones that actually made it happen. And that was really important to me because they were a part of that. Kathy Beauregard, I got to give her all the credit in the world. I think she's a pioneer. I said that before. She hired a 32-year-old kid. You know, never been a head football coach, never been a coordinator. Well, I was a coordinator for one day, but never been a coordinator. And she hired me. And she wasn't going to fear change. And she wanted change, and she didn't fear what other people were going to say about it. And I'm just happy to be a Bronco. I really am. It's kind of a relief that it's over, you know, because you worry always when it's in flux about how it affects recruiting. And rumors go out there, and people say you're different places that you're really not. And then all of a sudden, you know, you're sitting there answering phone calls, and it's taking 5 hours to answer phone calls from recruits because now people are using it against you, saying you're going somewhere else. But it's really nice to be able to solidify that, get that over with. And from the start, I wanted to be at Western Michigan. It just took a little bit to get it done.
Being a senior and kind of guy who went through all the struggles and the class that went through all the struggles over here before, what does it mean for you guys to be a part of this turnaround and be here and possibly win a first bowl game this year?
It means the world to us, man. It means the world, especially for the seniors that's been here for the last 4 years, and this is my senior year. And we want to get it done for the school, for the community, and for these guys, for my teammates, and we want to make history, win the first bowl game for Western Michigan, and that'd be great for the community and everyone else.
All right, row the boat.
Row the boat.
Row the boat.